life isn't easy. Being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur is not always easy, but being unstoppable means that when we hit roadblocks, we have found ways to go around or go over or get through. When we fall, we get back up. We have the tools and the strategies to keep moving forward. Unstoppable means we have an army of people beside us to help us along the way. And so really unstoppable to me means coming together in community to do big things.
Guys, help me welcome my one and only good friend, Amberly Lago. Second appearance. What are you doing? How are you doing?
Oh, Stephen, I'm so happy to see you. So happy to be here with you. You are an angel in my life.
Oh,
Seriously.
thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you.
for just who you are and your amazing support. I've never met a human like you. I'm serious. I've never met anyone like you.
Well, I appreciate that. One of the things that I love to see happen is people with big hearts do big things in the world. And you are absolutely one of those people, hands down. No bones about it. You radiate love, you radiate brilliance, and I can't wait to see it continue to shape more and more of the marketplace.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm going to get to see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. It's funny. I started getting a new nickname by a lot of people. They call me Mr. Unstoppable. And I guess that makes you Mrs. Unstoppable or Miss Unstoppable. Mrs. would make me get in trouble and you get in trouble too. So
Yeah. But yeah, it's so true because you're so much about what you do is unstoppable.
yeah.
And then I remember actually it was March 16th,
Mm-hmm.
2020. And I remember that date because it was my birthday. I was launching my first unstoppable success mastermind. And my husband was like, the world has literally shut down. It's when
Mm-hmm.
COVID hit and everything in California was just
Yeah.
everything was shut. The gym, restaurants,
Yeah.
everything. He goes, you are launching something called Unstoppable when the world has stopped. And I'm like, yeah, I sure am. And here it is 3 years later. And I'm like, not only do I've kept going with this Unstoppable, I'm doing this big event
Yeah.
at your place. And when I thought about out of all the places to do an event, when I got to meet you, it was about a year and a half ago
Mm-hmm.
at your beautiful facility.
Oh, thank you.
Um, I I was like, wow, your attention to detail, everything from your stage to the lighting to all the
Mm-hmm.
cameras to the green room, um, everything from outside in the reception after the event to the food to the drinks to everything. I was so moved by what you did and your heart and what you put into it. So when I thought about holding my own bigger event, I've held
Mm-hmm.
some smaller ones, masterminds at a house that I rented and a hotel conference room, but I was like, I want something that is phenomenal, an
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, well, Stephen's place, of course,
I know
that's
a
where I'm
guy.
going to have it. Yeah, I know a
Yeah.
guy. And then, I saw what you did with Ed Milet's book launch,
Yeah.
which was stunning. I couldn't make
Oh,
it in
we had a
person,
blast. We
but
had a
I
blast.
tuned in. I watched the virtual,
Oh, did you really?
and that's what I love too.
Oh, that's so
Oh, yeah,
cool.
I tuned in because I couldn't make the in person.
Mm-hmm.
I signed up to watch virtually. So I
Yeah.
was watching virtually John Gordon and you, and I was watching everybody's stories and having major FOMO. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, of course, that's where I want to be. That's where I want my event to be. So, yeah, a lot of people are like, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm like, oh, wait till you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the next Nashville before it becomes Nashville. I know like even like we have more fine dining coming. We have more artsy stuff. There's all kinds of stuff really that's been cooking in Raleigh, North Carolina. You'd be thinking about it. People have been moving here now in droves for like the last 10 years. Right. So they have to build up all these amazing places for the infrastructure for all this. And yeah, so I decided to put the event center in Raleigh, and it's been a big win for everybody. But I want to jump into more about you now. For the audience who hopefully caught the first time that you and I connected and did a podcast together, may remember part of your story. But just as a quick synopsis, I want to kind of bring back up a little bit of your backstory, a little bit, because the word unstoppable absolutely fits you 100%. So maybe share just a brief synopsis, and everybody, you guys can go back and check out the original Amberly Lago interview as well. But share a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, it's funny because my husband says, and he has actually said this to a doctor before one of my many surgeries that I've had. He said, "Oh, he actually said this. He goes, Hey, what are the chances of her like, dying in this surgery?" And the doctor was like, excuse me. He goes, "Well, I just took up, an extra life insurance policy on her." And he goes, "I'm kidding. She just won't die." And we can laugh at it. We've had to make
Yeah.
jokes now only because it's pretty crazy. I mean, I've been hit by an SUV while riding my motorcycle. I've been hit by a car riding my bicycle. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter and I were riding our scooters and got ran over going through a crosswalk. And so when I say unstoppable, it's like I've been taken out a few times. I've fallen, I've failed, I've
Mm-hmm.
lost my business. I had $2.9 million worth of medical expenses.
Mm.
When I got out of the hospital after my motorcycle accident and woke up, I'd woken up from a coma, and they said I had a 1% chance of saving my leg from amputation, and I had 34 surgeries to save it. And I really thought, okay, things are going to get better, I'm going to heal, I'm going to get through this. And I was diagnosed with a nerve disease
Mm-hmm.
dubbed the suicide disease. It's called complex regional pain syndrome, and there's supposedly no known cure. And I was supposed to be wheelchair bound forever. And so I thought, my goodness, it's just one thing after another, after another. And, a lot of people listening may be going, well, I can't relate. I've never been hit by a car. I've never been in a coma. But I really think, especially in the past couple of years, we've all been hit by something, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
our health or our finances or our relationships, our business, whatever it is. But what I have learned is that there are ways that you can strategically take steps to get through adversity. You
Mm-hmm.
can get through challenges. And here's the thing, you know what? You won't always get all your dreams or goals, and things won't always go as planned,
Yeah.
but you do get your destiny.
Yeah.
And there is a way to build upon the joy despite, I live with chronic pain every single day. A lot of people, in fact, I was just talking to our friend Anthony Trucks the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Wait a minute, Amberly." He goes, "Wait, you mean you're still in pain every day?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I have this syndrome called, it's pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in pain every day, but I have just found ways to get through it with
Yeah.
self-development, with therapy, with working out,
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of therapy. I have a team, between a sponsor, good friends, mentor, coach. I don't think that we're meant to do things alone. I think that together,
Yeah.
that's how we become unstoppable.
Yeah. No, I love that. In fact, I think that's probably the leading force. I know when we first started talking about in the Unstoppable Success Summit, you were like, I want to bring a community together. Like, it's yes, I've got fantastic speakers. They're going to help me kind of like spread the word. Yes, I have this already pre-built, beautiful mastermind program that we have. But how do I bring it all together? How do I bring that community to build that relationship like you've been talking about just now about helping people become unstoppable? I was one of our other mutual friends, Randy Garn. He and I were chatting probably literally this morning, and it's like everyone else. You go through certain things in life, and there's going to be massive highs and sometimes very, very low lows, right? And I can't tell how many times I've relied on people like yourself and Randy and other people to like just kind of shake me out of it, so to speak, like to pick it up and start again and take the next step. And one of the things that I love about the Success Summit specifically is you're putting all those people in the same room at the same time in a close-knit environment. So you're not in a stadium, you're not in thousands and thousands of seats, right? You're in an environment where you can know, like, trust, touch, have a conversation with a lot of these thought leaders and one another. Now, was that the original like heart behind the whole thing?
Yeah. And that's such a good question because I wanted to create more of an intimate experience
Mm-hmm.
where you truly build meaningful connections and relationships, which lead to opportunity, which leads to increased impact, which leads to increased income.
Mm-hmm.
But coming together in community, I think is powerful. And it is the thing that has not just helped me succeed in business, it has kept me sober.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And so, and having that accountability, whether it's through your health or your sobriety or your business, is
Mm-hmm.
everything. And, you know, it's one thing to connect online. It's great. And I've made incredible connections online, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. But it's totally different when you get in the room and you get to meet people and you really get to experience their energy. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you get to know, like, and trust them. And I tell you that the real deals are made in the ballrooms, in the back
Yeah,
of the room,
for sure.
when you're networking, in the bathroom at a conference, when you're with these like minded people. That's where the magic happens. And
Mm-hmm.
people ask me all the time. I think this is probably one of the questions I get the most is, Amberly, how are you getting all of these opportunities? You're all over the place. You're on that stage, you're on this stage, you're on this podcast, you're on this podcast. And I'm like, I get in the room. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not talking about just when I go speak at an event. If I have a friend or if I see an event
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to meet that speaker, or I want to be in that environment, I go buy a ticket. I
Yeah,
just
me
had
too.
Ryan Stewman on my
Mm-hmm.
podcast right before we got on here. I don't know if you know who Ryan Stewman
Yeah.
is. I was telling him about you, by the way. He's a hardcore closer
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. We go to the same church. And I had bought a ticket because our friend Rebecca Zung was speaking at his event last
Mm-hmm.
year. So I bought a ticket, a VIP ticket, which was not, it was
Yeah.
pretty expensive, just
Yeah.
saying. I bought a VIP ticket and went to his event. Now I went for three reasons. I went to support my friend Rebecca, and I told her I'll be the loudest one in the audience cheering you on.
Mm-hmm.
I went because I wanted to support Ryan because I know how hard it is to put an event on, and I wanted to show my
Yeah.
support for his event. And I went because I wanted to be around other like minded people and network and meet people. Because I bought a ticket to his
Mm-hmm.
event, I am now speaking at his event in June.
Yep.
He's filling up a stadium of 4,000 people. So, me just going to support, I was
Mm-hmm.
able to network, and now I am speaking at his event. So, when I say that's how the magic happens, that's
Yeah.
how you build relationships. And I think success is built on relationships. And
Yeah.
so, when I started, Stephen, 4 years ago, I had written my book. It's been almost 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
I had written a book. I had no social media following. I had no connections. I had started with nothing. And I just had this big dream. If I want to write a book, I want to get in the hands of people that
Yeah.
need some hope and inspiration. And if one person reads it, then it will have given my pain
Yep.
and everything that I went through purpose.
Yep.
And I had the chance to go speak at an event. And it was the first time I met Randy Garn. And I will never forget
He's like a ball
how
of sunshine.
kind he was
Yeah.
to me. He was so kind. He shook my hand and he treated me. It was like, wow, I'll never. And now he's become one of my really good friends.
Yeah.
That event was life changing for me because I got to, it wasn't just that I got to share the stage with people that I really looked up to. I met some people at that event that have become lifelong friends. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, Nicole Kramer, who I met in the audience, she knew I was speaking. Like I said, no one knew who I was.
Yeah.
She's like, do you want me to take some video of you? Everybody else, by the way, all, Jay Shetty, Lewis Howes, Brenda
Mm-hmm.
Burchard, they all had their camera crew and their
Yeah.
whole team. And then it was me. And this nice lady in the audience was like, do you want me to take some video with your iPhone? And I was like, oh, thank you so much. Yes. We became friends at that event. She
Mm-hmm.
just came and spoke as a guest speaker in my mastermind
Yeah.
last week. So when I say that's how friendships form, that's how you
Mm-hmm.
get to meet like-minded people. I'm telling you, that energy is everything, and everything is energy. And I think people need to increase their energy, their frequency, and we need that community and that
Yeah.
connection more than ever right now. And there's one more thing that I learned through my journey is about grit. And I used to like be a all about the work hard and the
Mm-hmm.
hustle. And I was that grit girl.
Yeah.
And I realized that grit without connection is
Mm-hmm.
resistance. It's
Yeah.
burnout. It's depression. It's hitting the wall or hitting rock bottom. It's trying to claw your way to reach success. Whereas when you have grit with connection, with
Mm-hmm.
community,
Yeah.
that's resilience.
Yeah.
That's where you become unstoppable.
Yeah. And it's also one of the primary methods of multiplication. You start doing more with less time, talent, resources, because your energy, your frequency, your faith is in such a way that allows you to compound into those relationships and build something amazing. One of the things I don't know that maybe the audience knows, maybe they don't know, is the average person who's super successful, uber successful in a given year's time, call them the top 5%, maybe not even the top 1%, but top 1 to 5% of all high income earners, all top performers, all share one thing in common. All of them spend roughly 15% of their annual income reinvesting back in themselves, largely through events, masterminds, and other tight-knit groups. They put themselves in the place to be loaded on and breathed on by people who are slightly ahead of them in a way to compound that multiplication effect to kind of, what we like to refer to as become unstoppable and be in that trend. And I think people forget about that. They forget that if they're going to move forward, they've got to do so with an element of constant reinvestment, right? I'm a big believer that if you're not investing in yourself, that you're selling your future, right? So if you're going
Ooh,
to
that's
settle,
good.
yeah. So if you're going to settle, you're really selling your future. And it's not about, hey, look, how much can I do? How much can I go? What can I get? I'm talking from a fact of, look, you got dreams, you got ambitions, and they change repeatedly over time. When you get to a certain dream or an ambition, you're going to have another method, if you will, of wanting to, okay, what's the next thing? And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you have a season of reflection and kind of rejuvenation in the mix. The one thing that I've always loved about you specifically is the humility in which you approach helping other people. Talk to
Oh.
me a little about the humility side and really where that comes from, because I find that a lot of folks miss that. And because of that, they don't get to do what you just described, which is that ultimate connection.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. I just got all emotional when you said that. Um, our friend Katheryn Gordon, she's become one of my best friends and she's speaking.
Yeah, I
I
love her
love
to death.
her. She's
Yeah, me
like
too.
she cracks me up. Like literally,
She's a trip.
I'm leaving tomorrow. No, Thursday. I'm like, what day is it? I leave Thursday. I'm gonna go to California and hang out with her for a few days. Like
Oh,
she's really become one of my best friends
she's
and she's
awesome.
speaking at the event, but she cracks me up. But she did leave me the sweetest message. I woke up to a voice memo this morning and she said, Amberly, you really taught me a lot. She was in my mastermind and she said, you taught me so much about connection and about that
Mm-hmm.
humility and doing things for others. She actually said that in her voice memo. And she said, now when people who have a brand new podcast, they ask me to be a guest on their show, I say yes. She said, because you did that for me.
Mm.
Because she was just starting out,
Yeah.
she had been, she was staying home, taking care of the house and the kids and helping
Mm-hmm.
John with his career. And then she's like, okay, I'm ready to do my own thing
Yeah.
now. And so she came to me and I was like walking her through how to do social media,
Mm-hmm.
how to do what to do for a landing page, what to do for a pop-up, how to start her podcast, all those things. And I think when I know how much it meant to me when I had somebody like Randy Garn offer to
Mm-hmm.
help me
Yeah.
and was kind to me.
Yeah.
I know how much it meant to me when I started out my podcast and Trent Shelton was one of the first people that was a
Oh,
guest on my show,
that's
especially when
awesome.
he's like, I do not like doing podcast interviews, but I'll do yours. Like all that means so
Yeah.
much to me. And I also know how it feels when you're starting out in business and you don't know what you're doing and you're
Mm-hmm.
just doing your best to figure it out and you have a heart for what you're doing, but you
Yeah.
just need a little help.
Yeah.
Um, to have somebody say, you know what? not just to cheer you on and go, you got that, but to like champion you and say, let me hold your hand. Let me pull you forward. Let me carve out a way for you. Stephen, that's what you do. That's what you do for people. That's what you've done for me. This event is like, I'm going to tell you, it's kind of scary doing a bigger event when you've never done one before. It's like technology and landing pages and MailChimp and Active Campaign, all that stuff when I didn't even own a computer 5 years ago.
Fast.
Yes. And to all the listeners out here and all of you that I know that you love Stephen, like he is pure legitness. Like he would be like, we need the pixel code and the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what, Stephen? You're like speaking a different language to me. And you're like, I got you, girl. Let me help you. It's like when you can come together with people like that, and people have your back. That's the kind of community I want. We need to help champion each other on, because we can all, there's enough success for all of us. We can all be successful. And I have found in my experience, the more that I have like given and helped other people, it's always come back to me. And I'm not saying I'm giving to get something in return. I give because I genuinely want to help others and I want to see them succeed, but it always comes back some way, somehow,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. In fact, I would actually argue that if you give with the intent of service, then you are surrendering to your success. But if you're giving with the intent of getting something in return, a lot of times it takes a lot longer for that reciprocity to reoccur.
If it even happens. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes so much longer. That's one of the things that hopefully I've done over the last, few years is I've kind of, began to meet people in the thought leadership world and personal development, professional development space. I don't think anybody can say anything negative about me. I've worked really hard to serve others and be honest and be a person of integrity and, not be a gossip queen,
Everybody that when your name is mentioned, every time it's always, oh my God, I love that guy. He's such a great guy. Every time.
That means we're doing it right. That means we're doing it right.
Every time.
I don't know about you, but, one of the things that I'm going to ask you this question in a second, but one of the things that the people that I think this event's for are people who, this is me, right? This is me kind of thinking about who I feel like needs to be there. I feel like if you are stuck at a plateau, right? But you still have goals and ambitions and things still left in the tank. Like, there's something more, but you're probably a little confused about where to get it, how to get it, what do I do next? Is it time for me to get an active campaign? Is it time for me to change a marketing person? Is it time for me to put myself out there and become a personal brand? Is it time for me to write that book? Is it time for me to start that business? Is it time for me to sell that business? Right? I feel like that this event is going to solve and answer a tremendous amount of those questions. I've seen your speaker lineup. I know about half the speakers. Like you're talking about like ridiculous talent. People that have built and sold and done amazing things in business. You're talking about people that done amazing thing in live events. Like, I really feel like
I'm so blessed that I have some incredible speakers. And, when I'm putting an event on, I love the speaker. Every single speaker is a close friend of mine, but I'm actually thinking about the people who are attending.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking they're coming there. They're going to get, I want to see transformation happen, breakthrough transformation, whether that is in their life, their emotions, their finances, when you can figure something out, but also this is for people who also might struggle a little bit with what to do next. Like they have an idea, but they don't have the roadmap. They don't have the strategy. And we're going to lay it out and say, and I'm actually going to do, so this is so packed. I don't even know if I've told you this yet, but what I've done, we've got Nick Carrier, who's coming to do workouts on Saturday and Sunday.
That's awesome.
Outside in the parking lot. We're going to get people sweaty. Then we'll get them in. And I said, just bring a change of clothes. But also I thought I want to just cram in as much information as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm also doing a bonus this is like before the day even starts on Saturday. So it's Friday and Saturday. I'm going to do a bonus where I'm going to do the art of storytelling. And I'm going to teach people how to take their story and tell it in a compelling way that's going to connect with their audience, because we all have a story.
Yeah.
And whether or not it's you want to tell your story in a book, in a social media post, whether that's a reels, whether that's writing, whether it's a blog post, or whether you want to get up on stage and share your story, I'm going to give you the exact formula on how to do that. And you're going to see it, because the mastermind attendees are actually going to give a TED style talk, and they're going to take what they've learned in the mastermind, and you get to see them in action. I would say 90% of them have never stood on before, and they're getting on stage to speak. And some of these women were like, oh my gosh, they were so shy they wouldn't even do a post on social media. And now they're doing reels. Now they're getting on a stage and speaking. And I remember years ago, when I was in the fitness industry, and I was at this conference. I used to have to go to conferences to continue my education for being a trainer. And I remember hearing Todd Durkin speak, and he was so motivating. And I just was so moved by his talk. And I was like, that's what I want to do someday. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I hadn't been through a motorcycle accident yet or anything like that. I didn't know what my story was. And not that you have to have some crazy story to tell, because we all have a story, but sometimes we just don't know how to put it together. So at this event, you're not just going to build connections and relationships, but you are going to learn how to increase your influence so you can make an impact and increase your income. And so it's the strategies. It's going to be educational. It's going to be entertaining. And there's going to be one thing that I'm going to say that it's not going to be. It's not going to be one of those events where every other, minute there's a speaker trying to sell you something, because there's nothing worse than like when you can imagine going to like a Taylor Swift, concert, in between every song, she'd be like, okay, now y'all buy a t-shirt. Okay, now y'all go buy another CD. It's like, no, you've bought your ticket to come and learn and be inspired and get motivated and create community. And that's what you're going to get.
It's going to be so fun. It really is.
I am so excited.
Amazing.
The people
what
that we have
separates
coming
you
so
and your
far,
events from everything else that I see in the marketplace is the heart and the intentionality behind it. There's a heart and an intentionality behind it that is not self-motivating, but service motivating. Like, you're so focused on service that even when you're talking about the lineup of the speakers and the talking points and the things that they're doing and the opportunities you're about to give some of your mastermind folks, there's just something special about this event. It's going to be, I think it's going to be nothing short of miraculous. I think there's going to be little mini miracles all over the place. I know that I'm excited about partnering with you for that reason. And with the last couple of minutes we got left, I want to ask you one final question. And what is your definition of unstoppable?
Well, a lot of people go, unstoppable. Well, we all have to stop sometimes. And so it's not about like the fact that we don't take rest or we don't take time to recover. Unstoppable means that no matter what, and I think we've all faced some hard times. And look, whether you want to believe there's a recession or we're heading into a recession, we're going through some hard times. I mean, I got people that are like, oh yeah, I'm preparing for the end of the world. And I'm not saying that to scare people. I'm just saying it's life isn't easy. Being an entrepreneur is not always easy, but being unstoppable means that when we hit roadblocks, we have found ways to go around or go over or get through. When we fall, we get back up. We have the tools and the strategies to keep moving forward. And unstoppable means we have an army of people beside us to help us along the way. And so really unstoppable to me means coming together in community to do big things.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I also love hanging out with you. I can't wait to do this with you live in just about another month. Everybody watching, listening, we're going to put all the links in the show notes, all that good stuff. You need to be there. We've got some special surprises at this event. I'm telling you right now, if you have an event or two that you're trying to choose what to do, where to go, whether or not it makes sense, the Unstoppable Success Summit is 100% a place you need to be at. So we can all hug your neck and get to know you better. But more importantly, so we can make 2023 the most amazing year you can possibly fathom when everybody else is telling you it's going to, like, the world's coming to an end. I get you.
We're like, oh no, I'm unstoppable.
Yeah, you got two choices.
I got
you
my
can
crew.
either try to survive or you can try to dominate. So why not come at it from a I know dominate's a strong word, but why not coming at it from that greedy level? Amberly, I can't thank you enough for spending time with me. I always love spending time with you.
Oh, I love you, Stephen. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for this opportunity to like hang out with you more. And I just can't wait to see you in person and hang out. We're going to have so much fun.
Amen to that. All right, girl. Well, I know you got other interviews to get back to. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. See you. I hope you liked that video. And if you did, make sure you check out this next video right here.
When you are vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. And until I was able to drop the veil, open my heart, extend love, that I was able to touch other people from my soul to theirs.